I probably shouldn't be smiling because it took me a minute to get in here. We're outside with our son, playing in the water like we always do with the water balloons, and he's got his bubble machine. And he like cut his big toe on something. Boys will be boys or kids. But his toe was bleeding, you know, a decent amount, so I had to pick him up and bring him inside. And Julie washed it with the Bactine and cleaned it out. And we got a Band-Aid over it and put the sock on. It seems to be stopped and he's walking on it okay. But there was a little bit of a gash, or it ripped the skin off a little bit. But nothing major. But he's special needs, and like the way his mind works, because we put his socks on, he automatically thinks we're going to put his braces on. And then when we didn't do that, he went and stood by the front door for like a half hour, just staring at us like, all right, let's go. I don't know what I'm staying here waiting for you guys, but I know the process. You put my socks on, we're going outside. And then when he realized that, he walked into his room, and then he came back out here, looked at me. He was looking for Julie, but she had walked into the room for a minute. And then he grabbed his car package, had his like phone in his hand, and he backed up all the way through the hallway, never looked back, and just went through his doorway right to his little chair. And now he's sitting there playing his little piano. With his feet sticking in the air. Are they still sticking in the air, or do you put them down?
Yeah,
They're still in the air? So, but no, he's okay. He's doing okay. It wasn't it's not deep. I think he might have caught it on like a thorn or something. Well, we really don't know. But he doesn't even act like anything's wrong. He's just seen the blood and he's like, ooh, this doesn't. And he kept trying to wash it away. But it's hard though, because you got to hold him down and he freaks out. And yeah. The Band-Aid was what made him freak out. He seen the Band-Aid and said, this doesn't seem right. They don't put Band-Aids on me usually. But he's okay, he is. But as far as the crypto market goes, and before I forget, I seen somebody send a donation, CJ2 Pilot. Thank you so much for not only being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, but sending a YouTube super chat. It's the first YouTube super chat, and this would be, well, you ended it. This would have been the third one, but it feels good to see that before I even started. Thank you so much. And he said, cooking a steak I bought with money from listening to Tom. Tom's money. No, our money. No, your money. But no, the community, we try to make money. But I like how you paid it forward. I really appreciate it. What kind of steak? Did you splurge with like a New York strip or well, I'm assuming you didn't buy a porterhouse, probably too big. I don't know. I like the New York strip. Good old sirloin. What, top sirloin, Julie? Is that what we like? I think so. But I do appreciate that. But anyhow, with the crypto market right now, we're at a very, very, it's a temptational spot if you're not in the market. But be wary of the temptress before it seeks its true identity here. Because XRP right now.
Ooh, a ribeye.
Oh yeah, Julie, a ribeye. That's right.
I like ribeye.
Even though I waste like 55% of the ribeye because it's got so much fat on it. I'm not a fan of the ribeye. It's not bad, but I'm not a fan of it for all that money. Give me a good old top sirloin any day.
Thomas like cheap steak.
Hey, it's not necessarily cheap steak. I like New York strip.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily the cheapest steak. Oh look, it's looking in the house. I told you it wanted food. Look, it was staring at me. The groundhog's telling me, give me some more damn food. No, the groundhog is right behind me. It wants food, but I haven't bought him anything in a couple days, so I'm mad at him. Hey, they're looking at our yard. Sorry, there's people that were walking by, and then all of a sudden the groundhog hits our back window. But for the crypto market right now, let's get back on the right focus here. XRP, if it pulls up here and it holds this breakout structure, we've been back and we back tested and held where that uptrend was at. Just because we didn't hit it directly doesn't mean it didn't hold that structure. It absolutely did. And now we could actually refine this a little bit and see a true uptrend develop from here. We can do this with the new evidence now, and that actually is nice. Because now we can see how it came down, and then we look at it for future reference. But it's pretty interesting how this is developing right now. Because for XRP, if this does pull up here, that's going to be a massive W. It's going to invalidate that bearish drop. But it did reset in a sense because it did have this topping reversal. This is where it had to hold in this area. If it didn't hold here, Then all of a sudden you run the risk of coming to 250 and 226. We've invalidated that thesis to 226. We can proudly take that off the board now. Unless we fall back through and this ends up turning into a travesty. But right now, this is in good shape. For XRP, this is what you would want to see. So what I want to focus on here is, yes, XRP. But I also want to focus on something that is very interesting with XLM. And I know some of you are in the audience, know this setup. I know Shane has been talking about it. I've seen a few of you talk about it. I've heard the rumblings of people talk about it. So I know you're still aware of it. The XLM setup, you could literally mirror last year's XRP chart before the November breakout after a 7-year consolidation. That's where I feel like XLM is. It's legitimately at that exact spot. And the only way for me to show you it properly is to just get a new chart. I'm not going to delete this one, but we have to go on to a different chart here real quick. And when I show you this, and then I show you the XRP chart from last year in November when we were waiting on a 7-year breakout, and then you look at XLM, you're going to say, you know, I've seen this somewhere before. I swear I've seen this, and it's because you have seen this somewhere before. You've seen it with XRP. Now, I'm not saying it's going to 10x from here and go to $4, but what I'm going to say is, at some point, this alt season is going to start, whether we, and like I was talking on the Telegram, I sent a message to Nick and I said, even if it doesn't happen by September, or it happens after the September rate cut, at some point, I'm salivating because I could see a 30% pullback. I don't know where it's going to be because we already had a nice one already. But when nobody expects it, just to see that 35% drop in 14 days, and then all of a sudden you get the proper catapult into a real alt season. But in this alt season, I think it's going to be different. I think in this alt season, it's going to be an alt season we haven't seen since 2017. That alt season we got in 2021 was a joke. It was a joke. It's the only alt season I've ever seen that lasted as long as fucking, I mean, basically as long as you walked out of the room for 2 weeks, and when you came back, you're like, wait a minute, the market did what? And it went where? And it came back to what? I think this is going to be a bona fide, legitimate alt season this time for the first time in like 8 years. That's what I think. I don't know if we're really going to get a 35, but I salivate at another opportunity too at all these times. I'm going to show you a couple that are about 25% off the top from about a week ago. XLM, I believe, is one of them. XRP still way off the top right now when it just pushed to 365, but in my opinion, it's in a different kind of a rotation for us. But if we look at this for XLM, and I'm not saying, hey, you got to go in here and you got to buy and you got to do whatever, but we've seen this before. Legitimately. We have seen this setup before. I mean, we have seen this before. It's almost scary how much we've seen this. And I know some of you are going to sit here and maybe it'll change your opinion, because for me, what I decided to do with that drop is I reallocated funds, and instead of having 8 or 9 different things, 8 or 9 different assets, I think I'm refining it. And I like XRP and XRP Healthcare, that's one thing. They just sit in their vault and they do whatever the hell they're going to do for the rest of eternity. I got nowhere to go. I'm 41 years old. I got plenty of time left to watch this transcend here. And hopefully by the time I'm 52, we'll be sitting here and we'll be saying, I'm starting to get on the other side here a little bit. Still young, but because of the level of understanding and just patience. And XRP is the one that let us see patience is a virtue all together here, because we all sat here and said, my God, damn, is it ever going to go? But we knew it would. We just had to watch the same pattern that we're watching here. This pattern, and hold on, this might help. Let me turn it blue. Oh, and there's a reason why. And I'm going to go to the XRP chart real quick. Just got to remember which one this is, because I'm going to add this one. Which one am I using? I think I was on Binance, maybe. I was not on Binance. Coinbase? No. Oh, maybe down here. Interesting. What chart was I on to my lovely audience? Bybit? No? I guess we'll be doing it again, whichever chart I go on. But this will be engraved into your head, I promise. It'll be ingrained. So, let's see. Let's see if I can take something off here. Which one could I just throw to the wolves real quick and say I'll add you in a second? You'd think it could be. All right, DGB, I'll add you in a sec. No offense. Let's see. As long as it's a chart that... Oh, here we go. Good. So it was the Coinbase chart. So, look at this. So you see how this is... And it's just something that I feel like I haven't done a good job at continuing to explain this. Because if I wouldn't have said anything and it actually played through this and I didn't talk about this more... Because sometimes I forget that it's actually set up in the exact same way. Like, I'll forget. Because I'm not paying attention to it as much. But I'm paying attention to it now. Again, big time. So, let's set this up real quick. And before we look at XRP, we're going to look at the support and the resistance, right? So, let's set this up real quick with the price labels. So, tap 1, right about there. December 17th. Oh, right about my birthday. Oh, December 18th, 2017, the day of my accident. But not, you know, my accident was like 12 years earlier when I broke my back. But it was on December 18th. Let's see. My birthday's on December 17th, so, you know, there's good and bad. So then 79. But look at the difference in pricing right now, everybody. Like, look at the pricing. So, and yeah, I understand. If we look at this all the way out, it could obviously go all the way out here. It's not going to take that long, I promise you. This is just, it's not going to. If it does, this token never takes off and I would be just as stunned as you. I don't believe that. So, where does it get out? And when does it get out? And what's the target after it gets out? So, look how this looks, right? Remember this date. 2017, resistance. You can even say December, January of 2018, right? December of 17, January of 18. Now let's go to our very famous XRP chart that guided us the entire way through the bear market and then allowed us to buy the bottom after selling the top of the bull market in 21. And you guys all know it happened because you were here with me. So I don't even need to defend anything. So now you look at this. And yes, I did a lot of writing before we ever broke out. And I don't want to delete it because I love the fact that we foresaw this. But look where this started. 2017, 18, right? All the way through. It finally broke out. And we did a more elevated look here. And I can do this with XLM as well. I can make it more elevated to make this end quicker. But this ended up playing 100%. Like, when I say it played perfectly through that pattern, I mean, you can't make that up the way it did that with XRP. But now you look at this and you're like, okay, well, that took all that time. And then you go and you see when it finally broke out what happened here, right? It had a little W that started forming and then boom. But this time it compressed farther. XLM, the way it's set up, it's not 100%. Whoops. It's not 100% because it's not, well, I mean, I'll let you be the judge. And then, like, if you wanted to expand this and be like, all right, Tom, well, what would you do to speed this up? Well, I would do something like this probably. Because when it fell out, it fell out. But it's still going to put you way back. So I just like to kind of ride it out in every area. So that's what I'm doing, the uptrend. So, I mean, that is fucking crazy when you actually start to look at it. Because it started and it never got out of this box. So I like to look at it in 3 ways, just like I did with XRP. So we see the big W that would have to come up here. We'll look at that after. But when you look at the pattern width, eventually when this breaks out, and I'm not making this number up. Like, it's not like it's crazy out there. This is a legitimate target for XLM when and if, and it will at some point break out. So, you know, it's guaranteed some point in the future you're going to see $1.50. It's going to happen, period. End of story, discussion, it's going to happen. Maybe it breaks out a little bit farther down, but I've given this grace until 2026 in September, 1 year from now. I think it's going to do it by then. And then you start looking at it from the smallest base. I always like to do this. The smallest area went from resistance to support. just because I know that means there's going to be a little volatility on the way up. But guys, this is going to end up in discovery, and then you can look at it another way. So you got the short targets. Remember, for anybody who's here, do you remember, if anybody maybe can validate what I'm talking about, how we would do this with XRP? I'm like, guys, I know it looks crazy now, but once it happens, it won't look so crazy looking back. But the foresight, that's another situation right now. I'm going to focus more on XLM. I'm telling you, I went back to the roots, and I can't focus on 757 tokens, even though I'm good at it. I'm sticking with the roots. Like, some of you might hate it me because of it, but I'm sticking with the roots. XRP, XLM, XDC, core root. With IOTA and ALGO. Those are core basic roots. Yes, HBAR, VChain, ZIL would round out the core root. With DGB would be A1 if I could get it on an exchange that I would actually be able to trust. But I can't. And if you don't understand with BITUNIX why I push it by now, I'm going to stop saying it's because of VPN, no VPN and no KYC, and it's in the USA and all this other crap, because it's true. But the real reason is because it has fire blocks. If you don't know what that is, that's like a custodial watching over our money for a safety feature in case something happens. It's a recourse for you to get your crypto back. If you don't believe me, but some people in the audience have had it happen on the exchanges with fire blocks, and you can absolutely get your money back. It's a pain in the ass, but you can get your crypto back. But that's why if you're using an exchange, unless you're going into the AI side of it too, which I'm trying to test out, but it is a lot. It's different. But that's why I like to promote BITUNIX, because of the fire blocks. I know if something happens, we have a recourse, and there's not. That's the truth. If you don't know about fire blocks, look it up. And that's in the video description below in our pinned comments if you want to trade. And they have XLM and spot. Wada, 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 bang, bang, bang. So I want to know what you guys think about this as well. And we still haven't finished out these targets, but I want you to see the supports that they hit as well, because you can't just show the resistance without the support hits, right? But it's insane when you start to actually, I mean, it's insane. The fact that we can look at something in the past, it's like if you missed XRP inside of its pattern setup and you're like, oh my God, I'm so mad at myself. I know XLM is up. I understand it's up. I do. Don't you remember when we were buying it? Well, in this last rotation. I guess I don't even want to talk in past tense. Do you see what we're going to do going forward? Because we can't control what's happened in the past. But we're going to try to figure this out going forward here. And see exactly what the best opportunities are. So these are the taps that it's had in these regions. And we can make it more fine-tuned if we want. But this is honestly, once this breaks out, you've got those two targets, but that's not the end-all be-all. Remember, this is what I did with XRP back in 2022, 2021, on the same chart that I've kept for years, and I don't always go to it, but we were on focus on it, on point for like a year and a half, because it was the one that overtook, until we got into the rising channel area, which that chart's still there. And then we ended up having that cup that formed, and oh man, it's so great when you can look back. But I feel like we're living it again. If you missed XRP, don't dismiss what I'm saying right now. Please. XLM's only at 41 cents. And who knows, maybe we get another pullback. But once this happens and you finish this pattern, and then you probably come back down here and tap probably, you know, if it does it properly. When it eventually does get out of here, you know. Maybe I should have swung it out farther just so that it doesn't look like it has to do it right now. Sometimes I've noticed that fucks with people when they first watch. I'm like, hey, he's saying it's going to happen now. I better buy today so that I can't miss tomorrow. Well, if you buy today, you can't miss tomorrow, even if it goes down. So maybe it does. I don't know if it's going to go up that high. But maybe it goes up to that first point. You know, who knows. But we're going to get a back test at some point. But, see, I can't live with that. I don't like that. Because I think that still draws a poor conclusion, because you're looking out. So good evening. 6:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, August 4th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on XLM and Future Digibyte OG. And I reside in the great state of again. So the importance here is now, if it does build out this everlasting cup, now we measure the base of the cup. Then we go from the breakout point of the top of the cup, and we'll just measure it. I don't know where it's going to end up being. We'll do it from this side because we have no reference yet from the other side. But we're playing it out. All we're doing, guys, is we're projecting into the future. And when you look back on the XRP chart after I show you this, you're going to start to see why it looks like that. So that's $1.77, so that's even higher. You know, and yeah, there can be a way higher target up there. I see some people talking $4 and higher. Let's get through the basics first. We got to get through these areas. Once we build that out, my glorious Lord. So if you missed XRP, don't miss XLM. And you know, in fact, I'm going to delete this chart. We're going to look at it in the macro from now on. I'm not going to keep the micro bullshit on that chart. So we need to pay attention to XLM hardcore. It's not at 52 cents like it was 12 days ago or whatever the hell it was. Maybe it was even closer now. But I'm not saying buy it right now because we got to make sure there's validation on these pushes up. Bitcoin's below, believe it or not, on the close. I believe it's on the border here. Let me see. Yeah, it closed below that rising wedge. So this still remains to be seen if we've invalidated this death cross, because that's still valid, I believe, at this moment. It is. So we've still got to see what this the dynamic is here with Bitcoin. We're inside what could be deemed as either a rising wedge or a rising triangle. It's just, it's one of the trickier ones I've seen in a long time, because I could say it's both. When it breaks down, if it did, we could easily be like, oh, that was a rising wedge. Yeah, but if it breaks out, you'd be like, oh, yeah, it kind of looked like a rising triangle too. So, but anyhow, so Bitcoin's interesting. Obviously, Ethereum closed way over 35.58, but it's still well below where it needs to be at that almost 3,900 plus area. And then it ultimately needs to make that first push. Like I told everybody earlier, we better hope to God we're making that run to 4,000 and this ain't a breakout or a fake out. Because if it is, you know, there's always a step where they kind of like to take us for a ride with liquidity over and over and over. And that's kind of what's been happening. But anyhow, so we've seen the XLM chart, right? So you see how this is set up. And I'll ask you guys what you think about it, or maybe you can already say it. And I want to know if you understand what I'm showing you. So that's it. This is the precursor like XRP, right? And we might have a big flag set up right now with XLM. We can't really tell if it's going to play through or not. But I think this is a good time, especially if we get a little volatile here, especially if it gets volatile to the downside. It would be great. But now let's look at that XRP chart that we were focused on for years. And it allowed us to play the bottom of two different bull market to bear market, 21 and 22 into 3. But look at XRP. This is the chart we had. We set it up before it happened, and then we played this out. And right now, XRP's only come up to here. So for XLM to come up to where XRP's at, would just have to create the W and try to create the cup and handle, or a long-standing consolidation until we can get through. So XLM to get to where XRP's at needs to be up at 93 cents approximately. So that tells you we're about 1x behind where we should be in this pattern. Over 1x. So at some point it'll outperform XRP to get there, but once it finishes it off, then you're going to start to make these macro holy shit moment movements. And that's going to be fun. Oh, this needs to be yellow because this would be the result of a cup and handle. Yeah, much better. There we go. And then we'll just put this over, we'll put it on the other side. I guess we have to keep it there just because it's hard to see on the other side because it hasn't happened yet. So, you know, that's what we're looking at. So there's going to be a big move eventually. And it's going to be a lot more than what I'm showing you here. This is like the preliminary. Remember what happened with XRP after it built the actual cup and handle and we got the extended target? But I do believe that XLM, if XRP's at 549, it's going to be at $1.77, more than likely. I don't think we see it under $1. Once it gets above $1, I really think XLM spent enough time under $1 that it's just, it's going to do what it needs to do. So I hope that material, you know, resonated with some of you. But as I said earlier, this still scares the hell out of me, this market right now. Because there's a lot of retail traders that don't really know how to navigate what's going on. And yeah, it looked nice to green the last couple of days. But let's be honest, even with all that green, we're still below the drop point by a good 25%. 20% across the board. You know, Ethereum's a little closer to where it was at the very top of this move. But Ethereum also went up 180% over like, you know, a couple of weeks. So, you know, we've still got to be very, very attentive to the pattern. Very, very attentive. Ryan, welcome in. Crazy Pole, good evening, and thanks for being in town. Our 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Jay for Mix, welcome in. Says we're just here chilling. Bearded Viking, welcome in, and thanks for being in town. For your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Vicky, welcome in. Frankie Fresh, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your 3 months plus with the XP Meteor. I hope your significant other is doing fantastic as well. Thank you so much for watching me. I thank you so much. It's one thing for Frankie Fresh to watch me, but for a significant other to also watch me, that gives you a whole different level of vibes. Although Frankie Fresh gives me great vibes. He keeps me very motivated. On my toes, too. Keeps me on my toes. That's what I need. Somebody to keep me in check. Vicky, longtime follower on Facebook, new to the tube. Look at that. Thank you so much, Vicky, a Facebook follower. And when my son goes back to school, as you know, I'm going to be doing lives on Facebook as well. Because he's going to be in school for the first time. A full day. He's special needs, so it kind of takes up a lot of our focus in summertime. But when he goes to school, and I'm not going to know what to do with myself in the afternoon and the morning. But once I get done at the gym and do my YouTube stuff, I plan on doing, during the week, a Facebook Live. I don't know how long it's going to be. We might not have anybody watching. But I think it'll grow. Doesn't take away from anything I do on YouTube. I'm just going to work more. I like to work. But thank you so much, Vicky, for following me over here. I really appreciate that. Or at least taking the chance to come over here on YouTube. I started out here on March 24th of 2021, and I've never missed a day. I've been here every single day, no matter what. And that's cool. Mark Caston, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Good evening to you, my friend. DML, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dozen Hours Crypto News. Said, is your son doing okay? Yep. He's doing good. Yeah, he had a little cut on his toe when he was playing outside. Everything seems good, though. Cleaned it out nicely. He's special needs and nonverbal, so he autistic on that, you know, that the spectrum, I should say. Easier to explain it. But it gets a little tricky when you have certain things happen that are not in routine. And, you know, getting your foot cleaned up with the Bactin and, you know, cleaning it out and then putting a Band-Aid and putting a sock. It screwed up his whole routine. He wears braces from an accident when he was 3 months old. Or 6 months old, I mean. But anyhow, we don't need to get into all that. But yeah, he's doing good. Frankie Fresh says, Tom, I wanted to tell you something. This army fucking rocks. I agree. It's next layer, next level. My vision from 21 is starting to finally come to provision. But it hasn't happened completely yet because we haven't created the abundance I want yet. For all of us. Not the abundance for I, the abundance for all. Us. Abundance, like when you're talking, are you thinking abundance for us or abundance for I? Like if I was just thinking about abundance for I wouldn't come here every single day. I like the abundance for us. I used to do this for historical data in case nobody watched once it started to transpire. Because nobody would believe me. Oh, you bought XRP. Because now I always forget. Having XRP at 34 cents sounds like a fucking, oh my God, this guy's a genius. But remember, we sat with it for how long from 23? And then we got a second chance in 24. Thank God to buy more at 38 cents. But now when I say it, people are like, you bought it at 34 cents. And you said, what? No fucking way. And it's like, just watch my videos. I've got nothing but historical evidence here for the last how many years? And it's like, you did what in crypto or the precious metals? And it's like, yes, we have historical evidence. So now we don't have to convince you. Now it's your job to enlighten yourself. If you're like, man, these guys are kind of speaking the truth here, and this community kind of sounds like they know what they're talking about. Why are they all on the same page? Go on a YouTube channel and try to find a community when you get in the comments that actually know each other and are actually helping each other. It's weird. No offense to my community, but we're weird. But I'm weird. You know, I'm not like everybody else. When everybody was walking right, I went left. I'm like, you know, if 99 people are walking right and there's 2 idiots walking left, I'm pretty sure that everybody on the right is trying to figure out the same thing. And the guys on the left said, it's not even worth my time. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and it's not worth it. And I said, you know what? I'm going left. I'm going left. Anyhow, let me keep going. Let me keep going. But I think it's intriguing because it's not, listen, it's not, and when I started looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, it really isn't. It's not just, we have to look at XLM, right? It's not just that. I had the same chart for for IOTA, but we started to look at it like that. Forget that. We're not looking at it like that. We're going to look at it the way we should look at it. Like that was an overzealous move up. Very overzealous move up, as a matter of fact. And yeah, we're in the shorter time frame. Congratulations, IOTA. But if we started to look at this and actually bring it out, and I'm very excited this evening. Because when there's red on a day, I like to talk about opportunity. And I know it was green, but theoretically, because we had 2 days of green, now I can come in here. Maybe it'll be a little red as I'm talking, and people are like, hey, it's down 0.5%. Maybe I'll like take a look, a deeper look here. Maybe it falls a couple percent. You get the picture. So if I'm looking at this, and this is tricky because IOTA, I think I would have to go from here because we hit the bottom and then we started to trend out. So I think for IOTA, I would do it something like this. And then I think I would use the same philosophy here. We had the overtaking over top too far. But when we came back in, and I think you have to look at it in the daily. I'm just trying to be honest with myself when I'm doing this. Because otherwise you're going to miss it. And I'm going to miss it. Exactly the way I should be looking at it. So, like this. I like it. With the overzealous top. Now I'm going to have to put it back in the weekly. As long as I don't move it. I moved it. Fuck. No, that's good. That's actually really good. That's actually really... So, if you want to talk about potential, we can do this for all of them. The 3 that I want to talk about, I added XLM in just because. But HBAR, IOTA, and ALGO. And yes, we can go into ZIL, which I found an exchange that I actually kind of like. It's part of this new AI bullshit. But... And I'm not going to talk about it yet because I'm still practicing on it. But I tried a couple test purchases when it was very volatile at $6,000 worth. Not to hold it, just to buy, sell. Buy, sell. Send money from this exchange off. Send it back on. You know, that kind of stuff. And on a $6,000 purchase, when I bought and sold it, it cost me, I think, $6 on the buy. Or $3 on the buy and $6 on the sell. So I think it was actually $9 total dollars. But... at least I can buy ZIL and spot, but I'm not gonna talk about that exchange yet. I'm having a defined look at it just so you can. I've been testing it for months. I've talked about it, but I'm doing the same thing I did with BITUNIX. I'm making sure that I actually can. I don't know. I have a very hard time talking about exchanges, but the fact they have ZIL and a couple other ones that are of intrigue, and it's in spot. I'm in. Anyhow, it's kind of like how I had to go deeper into BITUNIX because of the fire blocks, and then I had to find a clever way to make my audience try it. It's the same thing that's happening with this other exchange. It's leading the way with the AI part of it. And by 2028, whether you want to know about it or not, you're going to have to know how to use that kind of exchange like that. Because you're going to have AI implementation. So you might as well just get ahead of it with the originals. Just like with BITUNIX, you might as well get ahead of fire blocks with an exchange that actually lets you do it, no KYC and all that. But if we forward progress here, if we forward push, and please look up fire blocks if you think I sound like an idiot right now. Please. It's going to change your life, and nobody needs a wallet. Unless you support a wallet and you really trust it. You just need an exchange with fire blocks. You know, and it's... I'm not saying don't use a wallet. I'm just saying there's levels of security that don't get told to us for some reason. For some reason, most influencers don't know what it means, and I'm not exactly sure why. It's just a custodian who is able to have your asset held in, just say, a digital vault, let's just say. And if something happens, they've got the records in order to get it back for it. Just please look up what it means, fire blocks. Last time when I used to talk about it, it would. So I'm like, let me just tell them it's no KYC in this, and then they'll get on it, and maybe they'll do they'll do what they need to do, and the fees are actually super cheap, the cheapest I've found. So that's the other selling point to why I use it. But if we look at this, and we look at it in the grand scale, and it's legitimately, they are set up in the same way that XRP was so long ago, and they're just waiting. What are we gonna cook? And I firmly believe once we cook, this is going to be a bull market like we haven't seen since 2017 in alt. I honest to God, I believe that. I don't know what that means for XRP because it got off so early. But like, no, I don't like that because I like to do it when it gets back here, see? So that I think is more legitimate. So I don't know when it breaks out. But that already gets you to like $2 plus. Just on that movement. Now, the crazy thing for IOTA is going to be the next part. When it actually creates this, because it's weird, because IOTA actually made a new high on the hump, which happens when it makes a W. It does happen sometimes. It could just be this chart, though, but I don't think going back that it was, I better go back to a different chart just to make sure. I better just make sure. It's been so long since I looked at the very front of this chart. Like in a more detailed way outside of that chart. Let's see. Yeah, some of them are gonna. It's gonna be hard to find one way back. Probably OKX probably had them all. No? Oh yeah, here we go. This is the chart I used to use. Oh, well, what am I using the other one for? This is the one. Yeah. Oh my God, this is perfect. I've already done this years ago. I've already done this. We already done this. This is the chart. Thank God. I hate when I have the wrong chart up because they get deleted from the phone to here. I was going to say, I know I've done this before, and it didn't look like this. That's why I had to look. We've done this before. We're not echoing. For some reason, the volume just turned on my tablet. I mean, on my touchscreen. Let me turn this off. There we go. Oh, I'm so excited. I haven't looked at this chart in I don't know how long. But I remember when we did this. Look at that. If this actually filled out, this is the legitimate targets of this chart. Look at this. These are huge. And look where I had projected it all that time ago. So now we're actually getting into these micro. And I even had the micro levels seeded for us. Look how... So you can look at it from micro and macro. Now, you know, fuck me. It's so cool that we're still at the bottom part of this rotation still. But that's IOTA. That's IOTA. Oh, baby, that's IOTA. I'm not going to buy any less than 50,000. I know what I'm going to do. When I do what I do, when I do what I do here on this next part, because this is what I want to see now, how we react and see how we push through the week and see. I don't mind not buying it for the next 5 or 10% because I know where the true potential is. I mean, I've already wrote it for so long, and then now it's kind of the wait and see approach. I'm trying to have this precision to where I'm not going to have all these different tokens. It's just, oh my God, it's H bars or algos the same way. I got to get the other chart. I'm sorry that I hate that algo chart. I need the other one that I had just like the IOTA chart. I already made these years ago. It might have been Bitstamp. No, not Bitstamp. Well, we're going to go through this. What does it matter? We only got time, right? We only got time. Doubt it's cracking. How's it going, Julie? How's T doing? Huh? Am I what? No, but I am talking. Sometimes I get hot when I sit over here. Julie, what time is last feeding?
9:30.
Oh, okay. Yep. I was just making sure. I mean, you can look on any of these you want. But I don't know what chart it was. I really don't. Wish I did. Damn it. I don't remember which one it was. I wish I did. I had it all set up just like Algo, but we can still do it. I'm trying to find one that's kind of like the market cap, how we seen that huge chart right here. We can at least use Maxi because of how far back it goes. Fuck me, look at that consolidation, guys. Jesus Lord. I'm telling you, some of us, if you've been watching me for any length of time, there's a few of these that if you don't end up buying them before this actually happens, you're going to end up... I'm not saying we're going to bash our heads through the wall, but come on. I mean, when we look at it at the grand scheme, what are we talking about here? A few pennies? Seriously, are we just talking about a few pennies here? I don't want this chart, though. Out of all of them, I'm not going to use that one. But do you guys see what I'm talking about here? That's back in the... That started when it was right at the top over there. But we need it from 2020 at the very least. I'll take 2020. Not 20... I can live with that, I think. I can live with that. Maybe. But then again, there's one that, if you do back here... I don't know, I try to find certain charts, but... You know, sometimes it's hard. On certain assets, it's hard. We'll just go to this one. The hell with it. We'll just stick with this one. But when we start filling this out, it's going to end up being... This is another one that is exact... We're just not to where the levels are to break out yet. Hi, TT. How you doing, buddy? He kept his sock on? Good job, buddy. Probably something like this for Algo. But I mean, we are dramatically I don't think we would do it like this. I don't think so. And yeah, we could go all the way over the top here, but you know, I don't want to drag it out like that. I don't even want to go all the way up there. I think I would prefer... No, it can't. See, that's why this chart sucks. I can't get the last part of the fucking evidence. Let me go. I'm gonna do it on the mic. Whatever. I'm gonna do it on the market cap if I can't figure it out. Does anybody know Does anybody know the best chart on Algo for the longest data going back? Reactive network time, are you still holding? No, I'm not holding any of the, nothing right now. Nothing right now, Mira. Well, not nothing. There's a couple of the ones you know, but the two. But no, I'm looking for something right now in the market. But at some point that's in the merged list, the very merged list. I've already spent too much time trying to figure this out. Which one is this? Binance? This will help. This will help me. I'm just gonna do it like this. I'm gonna do it like this. and the weekly. And I like this a lot. This is going to help me a lot. I don't want that. How was that? Because we really are with algo. We are getting closer to the edge. Sorry, it's taking so long, but you got to do it right. You got to do it right. Let's see. But anyhow, sorry, I got to get through this because my son's out here and he wants to hang out. And you guys know he cut his toe a little bit, but he's doing good right now. He's very happy. But with algo, the actual end is March of 26. That's Q1 of 26. That would be the make it or break it point if it played out as long as XRP. But look how low we are right now. We're very low. You want to be on the support side of town if you're trying to play an asset. And right now we are on the support side of town. And just to get back up to resistance, even if we don't break out, that's 48 cents area. So we're on the support area. This is not a bad area. And yeah, if it falls out, you got downward potential. We're probably 20, 19 cents. Then that's exactly an area we talked about. So you wouldn't be surprised. But at some point, folks, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, that's what I mean. It's going to end up being a few pennies that might end up costing somebody a ton of money. Like, literally a few pennies. Hey, I don't want to buy it at 24 because I want it at 19. It's a few pennies. I mean, this would be the initial shot out of here. Once it actually happens. But guys, like, the part that makes this special is the fact that we know there's going to be a big W created at some point. I think we can all agree, right? At some point in this chart, you're going to end up seeing it turn, and it's going to end up like this, and it's going to come all the way back up, and then it's going to consolidate. And then we're going to sit here and say, well, you know how we measure the cup? You got to measure the depth of the cup, and then it's the breakout from the cup after it breaks that top part of that resistance, yada, 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 and then so on and so forth. And now all of a sudden we're sitting here at the target of IOTA around $10, and one with algo at $7.45, and these friggin' assets. And what chart was that? I don't know. Had to have been Binance. And these assets are sitting at, legitimately, we're talking about if we forecast this into the future, just like we did with XRP, which still hasn't filled its out because it's $5.49. This is $7.45 once it finally does what it needs to do. And we're talking about, where's algo at right now? 24.8 cents. So you're talking about 24.8 cents with the potential of going up to $7 plus. This is going to change your fortune. All of this is, the IOT and the ISO tokens are going to melt faces on this. This is going to be the one for those tokens once it happens. But we don't know how long it's going to take. Like IOTA, same thing. I mean, look at where we're at. We're talking about pennies here. And then if it actually plays out in time, I mean, you're talking about massive implications here. Massive. And IOTA's only, it's a mainframe token, so, on the IoT. So, I don't know what everybody's plan is. I can't tell you what to do. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only, and I am not a financial advisor. But a big part of my agenda, algo, IOTA, and you know what? A lot of it is going to be like, well, this goes to the wayside because I've got bigger, better plans. That's why a lot of times when I look at XLM, I don't see as much upside potential as I see in algo and IOTA. And I know some people are like, I hate those tokens. You always talk about them. But it's the truth. I love those tokens. And then I'm going to cap it off with H-bar. Even though H-bar is technically not in the exact same fundamental areas as some of the other ones I showed you, just because of where it's been at in its history and where it's gone recently. The hardest part's going to be able to find a chart that I can... Nah, that'll work. That would absolutely work. I can live with that. I can live with that. This has run so much though already in comparison. Not like, oh my god, it's broken out, but this is more like XLM, as to where IOTA and ALGO are at the bottom of this uptrend still. Alga or H bar and XLM are very much in a similar setup, where they could technically take forever, but then if you gap it like this, it changes things. If you call that underneath an, you know, but anyhow, still gives you the same perspective. But I'm gonna end this because my son he wants me to end this, and I'm gonna respect his wishes. So I love each of you. We'll continue this discussion off the next time I'm on here. Make very educated decisions, and remember where we're at right now. Once this alt season happens, and yeah, we could come significantly down as we've seen, but at some point, and we don't know if it's going to be now, because historically August into September is the most bearish time in crypto. It's just that's historically, and that doesn't mean it can't pump at some points this month, but traditionally September is the most bearish month. Now, I think there's a nice caveat here because September, we know, in my opinion, we should get a healthy rate cut. Even though we shouldn't, but that's what we're going to probably do in the USA. But I love this discussion. We'll continue this after, you know, in the next live. Remember what I said about ALGO. And when you're looking at them, and you're looking at IOTA at 18 cents or 19 cents, and then you see the potential when it's actually drawn out in front of you, how we did with XRP in the previous life before it had these big breakouts. And if you need any reassurance that we did this before, which one is it? I don't remember. This one. We had this drawn out before, but that's why now we have the micro levels up there as well. But we had this drawn out, and that's where the 549 and 638 are, because that's the potential here. So, but these are broken out now. Some of these other ones are inside of this though, like ALGO and IOTA. ALGO right now at 24 cents and some change with the potential of $7.45 if we see into the future. And, you know, my foresight and my predictability on patterns that haven't formed yet is A1. So take that for what